So I just want to say hello and welcome to everybody, and thank you for joining us for this last webinar in the lead up to our Social Media Day event. My name's Gary Pinky, and I'm the owner of 10 Foot Digital. I'll be your host for this webinar. And today's webinar is about LinkedIn and the power of LinkedIn for marketing your business and connecting with potential customers and vendors and things like that. And presenting today is Donna Johns of ProMark Direct. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get started. Our sponsors for the webinar series for the Chamber is R&D Legal Bookkeeping. And what they do is they help you run your business. They focus on your finances, so you can focus on your bottom line. And also, hold on a second. There we go. And by 10 Foot Digital, we help you with your marketing and digital signage strategy to help you communicate with your customers and employees using electronic communication. So a little bit about Donna. So Donna is the president of ProMark Direct, a full-service marketing agency, and they provide their clients with ease in marketing across channels, utilizing postal and email campaigns, social media, content management, website development, pay-per-click advertising, analytics, and search engine optimization. Donna has an MBA in marketing and IT from the University of Connecticut and has over 20 years of experience in the field of marketing. She has a diverse background. In addition to sales and marketing, she's worked in other areas of business like operations, human resources, and a variety of different industries. And she's a great person for talking about this particular topic with her vast experience. What she likes to do is take a holistic view of marketing strategy that helps companies meet their marketing goals for her clients and supports their company challenges. What I'd like to do now is introduce Donna and let her take control of the presentation. Thank you, Donna.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Gary. And hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you again for being here today. There are a lot of areas we want to cover. So without a lot of ado, let's get started. LinkedIn, as a social media channel, has tremendous marketing power. There are a lot of areas to explore, on the platform, and we're going to get to many that offer key tools to building your brand, increasing engagement, gaining new prospects and partners. These are all the things that, in the end, help you build your business and be more profitable, which is, what we're all trying to do. So talking about LinkedIn as a platform, LinkedIn has over 500 million members worldwide, 138 million plus of which are right here in the United States. So I think we all know, obviously, as a professional, you can't not be on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn, like all social media platforms, is a living organism. It's full of activity, and the way that you're going to get the most out of it is by participating in that activity. So you can't put up a profile and walk away. What's going to make it work for you is putting up the right profile and making sure that it's constructed in a way that people will be able to find you and get the best first impression of you, and to be involved in the community. It is a community, and being involved in that, this is the key to making it work for you. So we'll start with talking about building your brand. And with that, we'll start with the profile. This is the first thing that you want to do is make sure you have a good profile. And most of you probably already do have some sort of profile on LinkedIn. And I can't, stress the importance of this enough. It's your online professional story. It's your initial sales pitch, and it's so much more than a resume. As a matter of fact, it's not a resume. It can be used in a job search, but it's definitely not a resume. How many of you set up a meeting with a new prospect, and what's the first thing you do? You go to LinkedIn to check them out. And it accomplishes two things, just as you would check out a company's website to find out more about what they do before you maybe hire them or meet with them. You do that, with prospects to find out more about who they are. And in the circumstance where about a potential person you may be hiring or doing business with, it's the first screening and it's the first impression. And you know what they say about first impressions. So you want to make sure that it's going to build your brand and that it's going to maximize all search engine opportunities that people can find you. So the key to this is to set your profile up and make it work for you. So when you start to work on your profile, you want to remember the old WIFM, what's in it for me? The first thing you want to do is have a profile that engages your network and gets their attention. As with all good sales pitches, you want to consider your audience. What's important to them? What are they looking for in a professional who does what you do? Think about who you are. What are your skills, expertise, reputation, and how is that important to your customers? Because that's going to be the same thing that's important to prospects. The value that you're going to bring them. And while you're thinking about this, in an initial meeting, use that insight to decide the tone and content of what you're going to put on your profile, and always let it reflect who you are in your own voice, as you would normally talk. So the first element of the profile we're going to look at is your headshot. We'll break that profile down into sections, and the headshot will be the first one. And so we're going to start here. And obviously, what's wrong with this picture? There isn't one. And I know that seems like a no-brainer, but it's amazing how many profiles out there still don't have a picture, a headshot, or they have the wrong one. And having one and having the right one is critical. It's the first impression. And just like in a first meeting, you want to put your best foot forward. So, I'm sorry, profile picture. Okay, visuals are going to come up quite a bit in the profile. So before I go any further, I just want to drive a few points home with this. A 2016 social media marketing industry report, said that 37% of marketers said that visual marketing was the most important form of content for their business, second only to blogging. And 74% use visual assets in their social media marketing. And I think it's sort of something we all know, but I really wanted to put the figures in here to make it resonate. 65% of people remember what they learned 3 days later, as opposed to 10% that did not have a visual. And LinkedIn actually boasts that, profiles with headshots get 14 more times views and 36 more times likely to receive messages. So, you definitely want to use good visuals on your page. And some will say that a good headshot needs to be professionally done. I agree with that to a point. I think it's certainly an asset because it's not Facebook. You really want to have a good professional picture. But in the event that the budget doesn't allow for that, it can be done on your own. Just keep in mind that it should reflect your professional side. And you want to ask yourself, what does your audience want to see, when they see you? If you're a banker, you may want to go all business or business casual. And your jewelry designer, you might want to look a little more artsy, but still keep it, keep it very professional. So if you're going to do this on your own, here's a few tips, for a great headshot. You're going to want to take it from the shoulders up because the circles are very small. And to go from the waist up, your face won't show. And to have just your face, well, that's just scary. So you want to make sure it's from the shoulders up and make sure you're smiling. And I know people are, they don't like to have that toothy grin, but I will say that just like when you meet someone in person, a nice smile, it's going to tell them that you're confident and sincere. So this is your first meeting. You want to be looking directly into the camera and smiling straight ahead, just like you would when you go to shake someone's hand, in a meeting. So keep your gaze straight ahead and make an appropriate background as well. I would keep it very simple and unfussy. And unless there's some reason, there's something in the background that might reflect what you do that would match it. But again, I would make sure that it's something that, doesn't detract from your headshot. Sean, this is Sean. He's a mortgage banker, and, he looks nice. He's looking straight ahead into the camera. He's dressed professionally, which, he's going to take a lot of your money as a mortgage banker, so that's appropriate. And he's got a very simple background. So nice steady gaze, and that's a good example. Just one more example. This is David. He's a vice president of human resources for a harbor cruise company. So again, as a vice president, he dressed appropriately, but he put the bow tie in. They're an entertainment company, so that brings a little fun to it. And if you look, his picture was taken on a vessel, so it's not too busy, and it's a positive asset to his headshot. And this one also has a background photo. Karen, this is Karen. She's the director of sales and marketing at Hilton Lake Las Vegas, and she did a professional headshot, looking straight ahead, simple background. But I wanted to use this one to start introducing background photos, because this is another really great thing here. LinkedIn has added this lovely background space that behind your profile picture that you're definitely going to want to utilize. Karen, this one from the view of the hotel where she works, not a view of the hotel, from inside. And this tells me two things about Karen. As a salesperson, she knows that you're selling the sizzle and not the steak. So if I was looking to hire her, I'd say, okay, she gets that. That's a great idea. But if I was also looking for a sales representative in Las Vegas to book an event with, and I saw that, well, I mean, who wouldn't want to be there? So she's really tied this into what she does and who she is without putting a company photo behind her per se. It definitely works. So here's some tips for your background photo. First, you want to make sure that it reflects what you do and not your company. So if you're a business owner, while you probably have photos on all of your social media site that are branded and they all match as they should be, this is not your company LinkedIn page. This is your personal LinkedIn page. So while you might bring in some branding, you might bring in some colors from your logo or a photo from your website, it should definitely reflect who you are as a professional. The things that you do, the skills that you have, and not those of your company. Just be complementary to it. And of course, if you're not a business owner, same thing. It should direct your skills and abilities and who you are in your profile. The other thing with these is be creative. Don't be afraid to do something fun. People like interesting, and that's going to get more attention. Couple of examples. Here's Sharon. She's a writer, hence the pencils. But I see that and I believe her. I believe she's a writer, and it's more importantly, it's a picture that you're going to remember. For my background, I chose to, as I'm a company owner, and I didn't want to put this exact same branding that was on the picture from the site and use the company colors and put the attributes in the pictures that you'll find listed under my skills and in our tagline for a company and things of that nature, but it's more reflective of what I bring to the process. So it's not too closely linked to the company. And here's one more, Danielle. She's a photographer, and I think she did a great job here. She actually put a picture of her work behind her. So not only is it attractive and eye-catching, it's a first resume example of, what it is she can do for you. So it's almost like a referral. So I think she did a great job with that. So just again, be creative and remember here that you're establishing your brand. Okay, so before we get into the next part of the profile, which is very heavy, in content, I want to touch on search engine optimization. You want to use keywords all through your profile, just like you would on your website, throughout each section, the summary, your experience, publications. This is how you will get found. And of course, keywords are going to be a combination of, like on your website, things that you would put in there that you do to get found. These are going to be things, your skills, and the things that you do, so that someone in LinkedIn is looking for that, they can easily find you. The second thing you want to do is, remember that you're creating links with everything that you fill in. Detailed content, updating and showing activity. This engages your viewers, of course, but it's going to help you move up in search engines. So from a macro view, looking at something like Google, activity on your social sites, LinkedIn included, sends critical signals to Google, and that's going to end in better ranking on search engines. So remember to fully flesh out this page, because every connection you have is a link. Every time you endorse someone or they endorse you, it's a link. Your website, or social media sites, which you should definitely have on here. These are all creating links, schools, organizations that you're a part of. So keep that in mind, and I will repeat it ad nauseum, but keep that in mind to use keywords as you're going through your profile. Okay, so the next section is your name and headline. Starting with your name, I would say keep it simple, just your first and last name, unless really everybody knows you with 3 names, and some people do. Otherwise, I'd keep it to just a 2, because you want it to be one that everyone can find. And if you're Robert, for example, and everyone calls you Bob, definitely use Bob, because again, you want to be easy to find. For your headline, the obvious choice for what you would think would be your job title, but don't feel limited to just that. For one reason, if your job title is something like director or president, no one is probably going to go in and look for someone to work for them as a director or a president. They're going to look for someone that understands IT or someone in personal development. So if you have something like that in there, director or president, make sure you augment it with something about what you do and the value that you bring. And that way the search engines will, you don't want to miss out on any search engine opportunities. So you want to use those keywords. And also it's an opportunity to say something about yourself, something that's going to set you apart from your competitors. So overall, keep it a little conversational. It doesn't have to be just your title. And it is going to be the first thing that someone sees about you. And I'll give you an example. Whether it's I want to partner with someone in a project, or I'm looking for that for myself. If I go to a LinkedIn search and I put in personal development, I'm given an option there of either jobs requiring the skills or people with the skills. So I want to find people with the skills. So I click on that and voila, look what comes up. The choice to find someone with personal development skills in their title. And the first 3, they're right in the New York City area. So, I can begin interviewing them as a partner if I want, but without the keywords, I never would have found them. Another nice thing, if you'll notice, these are 2nd and 3rd degree connections, which means this is another opportunity to get found outside of your immediate 1st degree connections. And here's some other examples. Laura did a great job here, because rather than starting off with the title, she starts off with the value statement, your best you, and then finishing with, helping you to be the best you. But she also does have in there personal development, retreats, workshops, coaching. So if you're looking for, something like that, you're definitely going to find it in the search engines. But when you get there, she has a value statement, and that's nice. She tells you right away how she's going to help you. And that's the first thing you see. And people don't always go real far down the page. So it's good to start off with as much as you can in the top. And just one more example, Beth did the same thing. She's got coach, consultant, columnist, connector. I love those 4 C's. But it's all the things that she does that you can find in the search engine. But then she says, big business solutions for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And it's great because she tells you exactly what she does and who she does it for. She actually qualifies you right there and tells you if you can work together. So, okay, so next, let's move on to the summary. Understanding marketing and how people consume written material it's possible that many people won't go much further than this part of the page in detail. They'll scan the rest of the page, but you still have their attention here. So you want to make sure you write this section with building your brand in mind. You want to sum up who you are and the value that you bring, and definitely differentiate yourself from the competition. What sets you apart. So this should be personal. Talk in the I point of view also, because everybody knows you write this. It's not written by someone else, and it's read it in the terms of Gretchen is very good at and brings a lot of value in. They're going to know that you wrote it, and it just doesn't look genuine. So definitely keep it in the I point of view. And again, some examples. This is Lindsay. I love the way she starts off. I'm an enthusiastic young professional with a unique blend. There's two things there that are really good. Who wouldn't want to work with an enthusiastic young professional? But I like unique blend because she does go on to put in there the keywords of what she does. So you can find her, fundraising, education, theatrical production, sales experience. But that unique blend tells you that there's something special about her compared to other people in her field. And it makes you want to go on and read more. So that's a great way to start it. That's a good example. And this is Sean's. And Sean just definitely did. He's a true value statement. He starts off talking about how purchasing a home can be a lifelong dream. And, he's connected with you already, especially if you're looking for a mortgage broker. But he says he's going to help make that process easy for you. So basically who wouldn't want that? And he's also put in the word mortgage. So you're going to find that in the search engines if you're looking for that. But more than that, it really starts off with, you're going to like this guy. It's someone that you would buy from, I think. So it's another great example. Okay, so to wrap up the summary, a few do's and don'ts. Don't make the summary about your company. Even if you're a business owner, you should develop a company page for that. This is where you want to build your personal brand. You want to tell your personal brand story here. So you also want to keep it brief because it's a summary. Paragraphs of your life's professional history, will never get read. And really that's what the breakdown of the rest of the page is for. And of course, remember to use your keywords and the WIFM. Make sure that it's about you, but it's really for your customers and your prospects and business partners. So make sure that you write it for them. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is publishing. So if you click up in your work area, in your profile section, you'll see under accomplishments, the first thing there is publishing. And this takes you to a screen where you can actually post articles that you've written. And it will show up under your summary section as articles and activities. And some of you that maybe have never published before think, well, why would I publish? This is an amazing marketing tool. As we all know, selling has changed. There's so much advertising everywhere you turn. Even in the checkout line at the grocery store, chances are there's a monitor there that has an ad on it. So as a result, consumers really have learned to block out a lot of advertising and softer approach. So articles or, blogging or content marketing is really a way to do that. It's informational and informative, and it gives your prospects an opportunity to find out more about you and still feel in control until they're ready maybe to actually talk to you. It's also another organic presence. It's a selling opportunity just, by existing. When you post it, a notification will go to your network, and you'll be surprised, how many reads that you'll get. It's another opportunity, to establish yourself as an expert and build your brand and show what you have to offer. And it can also be used to drive people to your website, and more importantly, to fuel search engines, because that's how we get found. Okay. And I think we've covered most of this one. So here's an example. of how you can get found. Say I want to find out something about social media strategy. I'm a business owner and it's an area that I've neglected. I go up to the search bar and I put in social media strategy, and voila, down below comes up an article that's written by Yasmin. Yasmin is a Mahwah Regional Chamber member, so she's local. If I want to reach out to her, she's someone that I can get to locally. And the article came up. She didn't even have to send it to me. It was something I was searching on. So again, I really want to emphasize the search engine part of this and being found way beyond what you post. It's actually an opportunity to pull people to you. Okay, so I want to give a few pointers on trying to get started. I hate to tell people to do things and then not give them a little tip on how to do it. Some of you may have written articles before, so you're veterans at this. Would say to you is don't be intimidated at all. The great thing about writing an article is you don't have to go out and do a whole bunch of research. These are topics you already know. It's what you do every day in your business. So what you want to do is select a topic that would interest your prospects. And I always advise, think about what kind of questions your clients ask, because these are going to be the kind of things prospects are interested into, and you can write about that. And you want to make sure you choose a great title, because you want something that's going to pique interest. So, make it a value statement. I'll say that again, but something like, save 30% on your next tax return is much better than, new 2018 tax regulations. That's kind of a snore and may not get too much attention. I would say, keep it between 200 and 300 words, because professional time is at a premium. So 200 to 300 words is a good length to get read, and you have a better chance that they'll go all the way to the end of the article. And vary the subject. Obviously you want to write about things that you do in your business, but you can sometimes also publish articles on just general good business practices and trends, because these are things that you can pass on, and people appreciate getting that information. And it shows you as someone that helps the community and shows diversity. Be authentic again, talk in your own voice, and talk like you're talking to one of your clients. Avoid using industry jargon that someone not in your business, they wouldn't understand and might be intimidated. And we're back to the visuals and the keywords. Make sure you add a picture and that you don't forget to use the keywords. All right, the next section that we'll go over is the background section of LinkedIn, and we'll start. When you go in, it's very easy to fill out. Most of you have probably done this, and you put in, your work experience and the dates, and LinkedIn puts it in chronological order for you, so that's the easy part. But what you want to do here is be very specific, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is what legitimizes everything that you have put before you at this point. So you want a lot of details and bullets and things that people can read quickly, facts and figures to back up your story. So for example, if you increase sales by 20%, or you decrease costs by 10%, improve customer service, put these in there statistically, that people can look and actually see that what you're saying is true, that you have had successes in the skills that you say you have. And keep your brand in mind, put things in there that are going to build your branding goals. And also go as far back as you need to accomplish that, but you can definitely say less about jobs that don't weigh so heavily against your current goals. For education, I would say definitely put in all of the formal education that you've had. And for those of you that may not have a college degree, put whatever education you do have. Make sure and list if you've been to college some, especially particular classes that are relevant to what you do, any certifications, anything that you've done in the area of education that helps you in what you do every day. I would list that there. And don't forget the volunteer section, because this really shows that you have activatized your community and that you extend your talents beyond the workplace. It shows that your skills are being appreciated in other arenas and that you're generous with your time. And that's a positive, because, people want to buy from people that they know and trust. So this is definitely a nice way for them to get to see. All right, this is Danielle's skills page, and I put this up as an example because she did a great job at populating this with lots of choices. Make sure you've gone in and populated this with all of the things that you want to be endorsed for. That way you can lay the groundwork so that when your connections come to your page, it's going to be really easy for them to endorse you. They'll look at it and go, oh yeah, I remember, you know, she did do really well at that, and it'll make it easy for them to endorse you in all the different areas that you need to be endorsed in. And the second part of that would be recommendations. You really want to have personal recommendations beyond the endorsements, because this speaks much more specifically and personally about a professional relationship and job performance. For example, if you've probably been in an interview or been with a client, and the last thing, you know, you close a sales deal and the last thing they'll say is, well, do you have some recommendations? Bingo, you've got it right here. They can actually even see it before they meet you. So you definitely want to work on, you know, fleshing out this area. And, you know, you might wonder how to do that because sometimes it seems hard. But if you give them, interestingly, a lot of times you'll get one back. So don't hesitate, you know, to be generous with the recommendations, but only give them where they're deserved and be honest. You know, don't overstate, because what you say will come back to you. So you want to make sure that you're genuine and honest when you give them. And you can always ask, you know, after you've completed a project with a new customer, that is a perfect time to say, hey, do you mind going into my LinkedIn page and commenting on, you know, some of the things that we've done here and the work I've done for you? And colleagues and people are generally really happy to help. The community is supportive and friendly, and most of the time you'll get a very positive yes on that. And it's a good way to build your page. Okay, and we don't want to forget about all of the other areas, and there are a lot, so we won't go through each one in detail. If you look under accomplishments, it's, you know, it's got everything there: certifications, courses, projects, test scores, patents. I would advise going through and filling in as many areas as you can for anything that's relevant to your brand. You know, you just never know. A certain employer or prospect is looking for a candidate, and it might just be on this list. So as long as it's building your brand, I wouldn't hesitate to put everything up there that you have. I would say, though, definitely make sure it is building your brand. You know, for example, you know, I don't know, if you won the hot dog eating contest, it would certainly show another side to you. But if you're a healthcare professional, I'm not sure that that's going to be so good for your brand. So remember to keep it in line with your goals. And two last things before we move out of the profile section. Your URL. You know, when you first sign up to Facebook, they assign a URL, and you want to make sure that you go in and change that right away. It's usually a very generic looking set of numbers and letters. So you can go in and put your name. If your name has been taken, you can put your name with numbers with it, but that'll still make you easier to be found because it has your name in there. So you want to change your URL. And you also want to go in your settings and make sure that your profile is visible, because why would you not want it to be visible to absolutely anybody that wants to find you? West Coast, and they're not in your network. They're going to be doing a job in New York, and they need a company to partner with. And you want to make sure that they're going to be able to find you. So make sure that your profile is visible to everyone. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over for the profile section. And now I want to go out into a couple of areas that are going to really help you with engagement and building relationships, which is another key factor. You know, we all want to build the relationships, get referrals, give referrals, do business, network. And here's a couple of places where you can do that. The first one is going to be groups. LinkedIn has groups for just about every topic or industry. It's a great place to meet others in your own industry. as well as those who are looking for your services. It's a place where you can share ideas and give advice, and where you can also show your expertise and build your reputation. Make connections, build your brand, form partnerships, all the things that we're here for. So, and it's also a great way to gain leads. A perfect example. Again, I'm a home healthcare worker, and I join the healthcare industry group. Whatever that group might be called. It's a broad field, so there's going to be other professionals there in different parts of the business. So I spend some time in my group. I get into conversations. I start building relationships, and people become aware of me, of my brand, and the next thing you know, I'm seen as a talented resource and an expert, and someone in there, maybe a practitioner, needs help or advice, or wants to refer someone, a patient, and voila, you come to mind. So this is a great lead generation tool where, if someone has a problem, they can come to you. Work block and checking that, and you'll see the groups icon. And when you go in, this is actually the group feed page, but to the right there, you'll see the word discover. And this is great because LinkedIn will actually generate a list of groups related to your industry. And this goes back to, really good profile. They can see from your profile exactly all the things that you do, that you're interested in, and they'll populate your page for you with group suggestions. So here you'll see a couple of groups. I mean, it goes on and on and on. They give you so many places to choose from, and you can ask to join, or you can click not interested. If they're getting off on a trek on things that you're not interested in, and you click enough of those, they'll quit populating your page with those and go more to the other things you're interested in. But this is a great way to get started with groups. You can also do it through the search bar, but I've found if there's something in particular you're looking for, but I've found that this is, particularly useful in getting started. So once you've asked to join some groups, you'll get notifications in your mailbox, like here, social media content calendar. This question is, when using a content calendar for social media, how detailed should you be about your posts? So this is great. I mean, this is a great opportunity to go in and view the discussion and become a part of it and begin establishing yourself, get to know some people and establish yourself as a thought leader. So you can view the discussion. And when you go in, you have a lot of opportunities. Start off by giving comments and, of course, contributing to the conversation. It may be that you get into the conversation that you have a really unique point of view, but if everything has kind of been covered, you can also go into someone else's point of view. And yes, absolutely, I agree with that. I've tried that before, and I be as good as actually contributing. Definitely, you can like. I would caution one thing on the liking, and that's to be genuine. Don't go on the liking rampage, because you are still building your brand. So you want to like the things that really resonate and show your smarts. And once you get in and you get comfortable, you can actually start a conversation. And this takes a little more work because you'll be the leader of the conversation, and you have to make sure that it flows and stays engaging and goes all the way through to the end. But it's a great way to establish yourself as a thought leader. And then finally, you can share content. Once you have formed relationships, you can start sharing your own content. It can definitely be yours, but it can also be other things that you think the group would find relevant. The other thing I would say is just be careful here, because the groups are not meant to be advertisements. They're meant to be collaborations. And while you can share blog posts, you want to be careful of everything you do being self-promoting, because people will start to tune you out. And some groups have really strict guidelines on what you can post and what you can't. So make sure you're familiar with those before you go posting. And that would defeat the purpose, to do the wrong thing, because they will unjoin you. So a more holistic approach here, it's going to build a much more positive reputation, and you're going to get more valuable engagement, from your group connections, which is what you want. Okay, so the next thing I want to, one more thing on the groups before I go on. Take the time to read about the various groups. Don't sign up by name alone. You can always join several and spend some time with them, and then you can get out these as opposed to a lot of ads. You can very quietly get out, unjoin, no harm, no foul. And, no one will send you a mean note or anything like that. So really take time to go through them, find out about them, and stay with the ones that are going to do you the most good. Okay, so let's move on to SlideShare. SlideShare is another great way to showcase your brand. Like articles, it's a place where you can post and share slides on various topics, but what makes this so popular is that you can learn about a topic quickly without, reading through an entire article. So people like that. They're on the go. They want a quick answer to something. It's a longer version of Googling an answer. It skips all the flowery talk and it jumps right to the bare facts, and you can scan it quickly. It has a mobile app. You can scan it quickly on your phone, and it's usually very visually entertaining. So again, that helps you get through it quickly, and that's why people really like it. And for you, the author, it's a simple PowerPoint, and that's something anyone can do, and it's going to be on a subject that you know. It's a great way to boost your content marketing. Because as well as LinkedIn, these slides are accessible by Google. They actually, log all the files, and they can be found there. So it's another great way for people to find you when they're searching with content marketing. So again, you're going to go up to your SlideShare if you want to join. And they have a sign up, very easy to walk through. And like being in a group, I would sort of recommend the same way, start off forming relationships. Search out slides that you find relevant to your business and start, commenting and liking things and following people. And it's going to be valuable for you to share with your network, and start sharing. And once you get comfortable liking, commenting, then you can actually make your own slides and upload them. It's a good opportunity to establish yourself as an expert, and offer relevant material and promote your brand in a different kind of arena. So I wanted to pull one of the slide shares out just so you could take a look at what they look like. Before we get to that, let's just go over what one would look like. You want to pick a topic that would be interesting, again, like when writing an article, to your customers and prospects. And you want to make sure that you use fewer than 30 words per slide, because again, these are meant to be gone through very quickly, and no one wants to read that much. Otherwise, they would be reading an article. You want to use an attention-grabbing visual on as many slides as possible, if not every slide, and definitely make the initial slide with a really good visual. And I did not put this on here and also have a great title, because just like with articles, that's what's going to help this get found quickly, and it's also going to make people want to open it up. So here's an example, the secret psychology of Snapchat. And I'm just going to give you the first 4 pages, but this is an idea of what they look like. Do you get Snapchat? If you don't get it, you're probably over 30. This app is huge. So you can see he's a little fun guy. It's very colorful. It's very short and sweet and to the point. There's 57 slides here, but you can probably get through all of them in less than a minute and a half. But again, it's great for the reader because that's exactly what they're looking for. And it's great for you because it's a wonderful way to do content marketing and be found by the search engines. Okay, so I promised this was going to be less than 45 minutes. So I want to start to wrap up. Hope that you're going to find them useful, and I hope that you're going to go to your page and start beefing it up, both from a search engine standpoint and branding. The great thing is that this can all be done at no cost. It's an organic way to build your presence. Although it's great to have a LinkedIn subscription, you don't have to have one. You can do it organically. And, we've all heard the word organic. I'm sure we've all heard it used, especially with social media, and it is a very powerful concept. It's a way you can get noticed without paying for ads. And I just put the definition up because there's two things in the definition, affecting the structure of the organism or forming an integral element of a whole. I'd like to wrap up with that because those two words, affecting and forming, they're action words. And in order to optimize the marketing power and really unleash it, you have to be consistently participating in the community. Just a little time every day, maybe over coffee, go into your LinkedIn page, make sure that you're communicating with your groups and that you're engaging with the people in your network, and you'll be amazed at the difference in activity. It is a community, it's a living, breathing community, and you need to be part of it because basically it comes down to is the effort you put into it, that's going to be the results that you get out of it, but it's all right there. So on that, I will turn things back over to Gary.
Yes. Well, Donna, thank you so much. That was a lot of information. And with LinkedIn, there's a lot more stuff that you can do between advertising and groups and finding people and trying to find other connections. And this topic and a lot of others for social media, like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, are going to be covered at our Social Media Day workshop. June 15th at the Mawa Sheridan. Yes, you get that from both of us. So you can still sign up. If you go to the mawa.com website, go to the events page, you'll find Social Media Day. There's a program there with a list of all the different classes that we're going to be offering. It's a full day thing. You can sign up for half a day or full day. There'll be keynotes and all sorts of exciting information to how to grow and improve your social media. But what we want to do is we want to answer some questions that people might have. We've gotten to see a few questions. I think a couple of them have been answered, like can we tie articles to websites? I believe the answer to that is yes, because we can link through on LinkedIn, right?
Absolutely. And one thing I recommend there is I usually say, you put one article directly on your LinkedIn page, then do your next article on your website with a link on your LinkedIn page. So that's going to take people right back to your website. So that's a good way to get them there because ultimately you want them to go there. So I usually say go back and forth.
Right. Right.
Great question.
Now another question about groups. Okay.
Are groups appropriate for all businesses? Absolutely. The numbers change constantly, but I think there's somewhere close to 2 million groups. So in those groups, there's going to be something for every single industry. With 2 million, you got a good shot. So absolutely for all industries. And one thing to keep in mind that I don't think I mentioned earlier is that when you join a group, all of the people in that group become part of your network. And you can actually access them. If you go to the group page, you'll see, 2,000 members. You hit that link, you can actually message them. So you've just expanded your network. I mean, huge. You've expanded it. So it is appropriate for all businesses, and it's a really great networking opportunity. And some of those people are definitely going to be in your area. And I always go back to that because a lot of times, if you're going to do business with people, you want them close by. So it's definitely appropriate and a great networking tool for all businesses.
Okay. There's a question about, do we have a webinar for building a brand page? So we don't. I will put that on the list. We do have a webinar, however, talking about content marketing. We had done one about a month or two ago where we talk about content marketing and how to use that for blogging and other stuff for growing your business. This was one of the parts of that in content marketing, but there's a lot of other stuff. But as far as building a brand page, we don't have that. Now, I guess the question really is are we talking about a brand page on LinkedIn, or are we talking about a brand page just for general marketing purposes? And I think the answer to that is, for LinkedIn, you can build a company page, right?
Exactly. And that was going to be my question. Is that what they're referring to? A company page?
Yeah, brand page on LinkedIn.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I would say you can definitely, okay, yes, I see a yes. So they mean a company page. Yeah, absolutely. You can do a company page and you should do a company page because, that is going to be for a company in general. Again, all the search engine opportunities there that, will bring people to the company, but also a great way to get your brand communicated in a different way than your website because it's going to be more active. You can put employee statistics on there for recruiting purposes. And, you can definitely put, your articles there. You can talk about, other kinds of things that you just don't have that presence there.
Right.
And absolutely, that's a great question.
Right. And just to follow up, they want to learn, they have one, they want to optimize it. I would say come to the Social Media Day event. We will have LinkedIn experts there who can definitely point you in the right direction on that as far as helping you optimize all your other social media channels.
Absolutely. Yeah, Social Media Day, just to touch on that very quickly, in addition to having all of the major channels, I mean, Pinterest and LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, it's also going to address a lot of other just business challenges, questions like what you're asking related to all of these sites. And the classes are going to be all levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. So there's something there for everyone. There's even an opportunity to just attend for a half a day, if that's what you'd like to do instead of a whole day. So it's going to be a really great event. We've got amazing presenters and speakers, and there's even going to be an after-work networking party. So yes, it's really worth attending. I think you'd really like it. Would really be beneficial.
Yes, and this webinar will be posted. We take all of our webinars and we post them onto our chamber website. So underneath the events, there's a link for webinars, and you can view this. You'll be able to view this webinar as well as all the webinars that we've done in the past. So you can come back to this and review it and refer to it. We normally do not share the PowerPoint presentation, but we do make the webinar public for anyone to come back and view.
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like we are out of questions.
One other question.
Oh. There is one more. Let's take a look.
Let's see, right here from Jen.
Jennifer. So yeah, are you allowed to post your events in your groups?
That's a great question. Because what a great way to advertise events. And I think, you want to check with the group organizer or leader. They will have group rules, but if you're in doubt, you can always check with that person because you don't want to be ousted. But they usually will allow things that are free and educational, that sort of thing, not necessarily paid. And you can also have someone else suggest the event. Might sound a little sneaky, but, you can have a colleague, hey, I'm doing this event and, we just had a conversation about this. And I think this could be, beneficial for other people in the group, and someone else may suggest it as well. But always check with the rules of the group or the group leader to find out for sure if that's allowed.
Yes. So are there any other questions? Donna, do you want to share your contact information in case anyone has any other questions?
Absolutely. You can contact me via email, and that is djohns, DJOHNS, @promarkdirect.com. Gary's typing as I talk. And you can also call me if you need to. I'll give you the toll-free number because it's easier to remember, just 800-PROMARK. So if you have any other questions that come up as a result of today or you want some more information, just give me a call or email me.
Sounds great. So again, thank you everyone for attending, and we look forward to seeing you at Social Media Day on June 15th, and keep your eye out for upcoming webinars. I think we have some other business value webinars coming up, as well as other topics that are related to helping to grow your businesses. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.
Yes, thank you.